Hello, everybody. Charlie Gipple here, the CEO of CG Financial Group. I'm going to say something profound. I'm going to say something that may seem to be sensationalism, but it's not. I truly do believe this, and it is this. Whether it is indexed universal life insurance or whole life insurance for that matter, whether we're talking about caps or talking about dividend rates, I believe it is not a matter of letting the client know that cap rates can decrease, that dividend rates can decrease, but rather about setting the expectation that they will. Setting the expectation that they will. Again, that seems crazy, right? Why would I sell these products if that's the expectation going forward? Well, they're still great products. Both of them are, and it's all about relativity, right? A certificate of deposit that's yielding 70 basis points looks pretty crappy compared to an IUL, for example. Although they're not apples to apples, but you get what I'm saying. An IUL that at one time had a cap at 10%, and now that cap is at 9%. Well, that IUL is pretty darn good relative, right? Now that's oversimplified, but you get what I'm saying there. So I'm not saying these are bad products. I'm saying set the expectation. Why is that? Well, let's talk about a very simplified example of a general account portfolio at an insurance company. You see, annuities for the most part are based off of what interest rates are today. They're called new money products, right? So if $100,000 comes into the door with annuities, that insurance company, they might go out and buy bonds. They will go out and buy bonds today to back that annuity liability. And what they do is they attach that annuity to, say, like today's rate, the Moody's BAA bond yield, which is an investment grade benchmark, you know, what these carriers are investing in. It's a benchmark for that. That's yielding 3.3%. And basically, you have kind of a match there, right? You have the liability, the annuity, you have the investment, the asset, and it's matched there. Life insurance generally is different in that they are general account portfolio-based priced product. Let me restate that. They're portfolio priced products, right? Meaning the entire general account of the insurance company, you blend out all those assets, which my example here of a $20 billion general account portfolio, which is the big circle, 5.3%, that means at $10,000 coming in today for a whole life policy or an indexed universal life insurance, well, that 5.3% is the yield the insurance company is going to base their pricing off of. For index UL, that is what the call option budget would be around, right? 5.3%. Technically today, the average United States insurance company, life insurance company, has a general account yield, an overall blend of slightly less than that. But that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is, look at the makeup of my general account portfolio here. Here you have $3 billion of the $20 billion portfolio, that little sliver there, $3 billion that is yielding 8%. 15% of that portfolio is yielding 8%, right? Why is that? Why is that? Well, because those were purchased in the 1990s. Those securities that are yielding 8% were purchased in the 1990s. As a matter of fact, in 1995, the Moody's BAA bond yield, again, that benchmark I'm talking about there, was right around 8%. So these numbers, they did kind of come from somewhere, although greatly generalized and greatly simplified. You have a larger chunk, because it's more recent. This chunk of securities here was purchased in the 2000s, so 2000 to 2010. And that chunk, which is $7 billion or 35% of the portfolio, is yielding 6%. But here you have the most recent chunk, and that chunk was purchased 2010 to 2020, yielding 4%, right? It's no coincidence, because I've already done the math, that you blend all this together, 50% and a 4% yielding instrument, 35%, 6%, 15%, 8%, you get a blended yield of 5.3% that then becomes, with IUL, well, the call option budget, right? Or for whole life insurance, a big part of those dividends that whole life insurance company is going to pay. And by the way, an ancillary point here is whether it's whole life insurance and dividends or caps on IUL, it's the same. Decreasing caps to IUL is equivalent to decreasing dividends on whole life insurance, right? So both of these products have the same issues, but they're still both great products because of that relativity. Now, what is my point here? My point is this. This 3.3% today, right at this minute, 8:51 Central Time on August 7th, Friday, Probably right at this minute, no insurance companies have gone out and bought this Moody's BAA bond. Doesn't exist. That's just a benchmark for 3.3%, technically 3.31%. But when that company does do that, what is that going to do to the overall portfolio? Well, it's like putting a little drip of water into that gas tank, right? So as new sales come in and new assets are purchased to back those new liabilities, right? Or I should say, as new premium comes in and new bonds, the assets are bought to back the liabilities of the life insurance, what happens to that general account yield? It slowly gets watered down. That's one reason why I believe that these general account yields, that interest rate can increase substantially. It can increase substantially, right? And still, the general account yield will be watered down. And when that's watered down, it can mean decreasing caps, as well as decreasing dividend rates on whole life products. But in addition to that, and probably most profoundly, most importantly, is this. These assets are not going to last forever, right? So these assets from the 1990s, as they mature, as these companies, that XYZ insurance company lent money to, as they pay back these investments, what does that insurance company have to do with that money that is paid back to them with that $3 billion? They have to reinvest it. What are they reinvesting it in? They're reinvesting it in that, right? What does that mean? Well, in short, what that means is not dripping water into a gas tank, but pouring water into a gas tank. And by the way, it does not take a mathematician to say that if this matures at 8%, then by reinvesting that in a 3.3% bond, or let's say interest rates increase, a 5% bond, even a 7.5% bond here because interest rates may have increased and we're able to reinvest that at a better interest rate. It doesn't take a mathematician to say that replacing an 8% bond with anything lower than an 8% bond, well, it's going to water down the portfolio. So my point is interest rates can increase quite significantly to not have that watering down effect when it comes to overall general account yields, which in turn means decreasing whole life dividends and also means decreasing caps on index universal life insurance. But it's all a relativity game. They're still great products. Just stay out of trouble as far as that goes. Remember to like and subscribe. Again, Charlie Gipple here, the CEO of CG Financial Group. Thank you for your time.